with the way things had been damaged, I think we can definitely assume there was a struggle.
A struggle?
Between Sayaka and the killer, of course.
So she must have been attacked in the main room first. Then, she ran to the bathroom to try and hide. The killer followed her in, and that's...
That much should have been obvious after taking one look at the scene. It should...
Sorry.
Okay, so what...
Next is the subject of the murder weapon.
Wow, this is starting to sound like a...
So what was used to kill her?
There was some kind of sharp object thrust into her stomach. Without a doubt, that is the murder.
So the killer used some random knife they had on him. How could anyone do something like that? That son of a bitch!
So what was used?
There was some kind of without a doubt.
So the killer used some random...
No, that's wrong! No. I do think it was a knife, but not just any knife. I'm almost...
Huh?
After the murder, we discovered that one of the knives from the kitchen was missing.
Which means that knife must be the murder weapon.
Oh, yeah. I guess that makes sense. And if you look real close, I could totally see that being a kitchen knife.
Okay, so the murder weapon was a kitchen knife, but where does that get us? I mean, we all know Makoto killed her, right?
That's right. Makoto's room...
Hold on a second!
Let's draw our conclusions after we've presented our arguments. Otherwise, what's the point of...
Well, we can talk all we want, it's not...
I don't think that's true at all. I'm sure if we keep at it, something new will reveal itself.
You really believe that?
So I guess there's no question that the kitchen knife was the murder weapon. But where does that get us?
Makoto must have taken it from the kitchen, right? He did it in secret. Nobody was in the...
No, that's wrong! Okay, wait. Hold on. I didn't take the knife from the kitchen.
Next, you're gonna say you're not the killer, right? Go ahead and say it all you want.
Well, what if I have a witness? What do you think?
Huh?
Remember what you were telling me earlier? Just to be perfectly clear.
Yeah.
And at any point while you were there, did you ever see me come into the dining hall?
No, I don't...
In other words, there's no way I could have taken the knife.
Okay, then what about this? What if the idiot swimmer girl and Makoto are in on it together, and lying to protect each other?
Idiot swimmer girl? Oh, and more importantly, why would I get involved in something?
Speaking of which, I'd like to ask the bear, if there is an accomplice, do they also become
So you ask, and so I shall answer. Each murder is allowed to have an accomplice, but only the one who does the killing will get to graduate.
So in other words, two people can work together.
But what if they did work together, and they...
Good grief! Enough already!
Oops! Did I? Anyway, I didn't go to the dining hall, and I didn't take the knife. So I'm not the killer.
Okay, so then... Hina seems the obvious candidate. No way!
Sure, but can you or anyone else prove that?
I can.
That's right! Sakura was with me the entire time I was drinking my tea.
I hate to have to ask, but just to be sure, Sakura's...
Me.
Right.
But then, couldn't either one of them have grabbed the knife?
Actually, no. Because,
Just spit it out already.
I stayed in Hina's room last night.
I got so scared thanks to those creepy videos. Which means we have airtight alibi.
You stayed over. Isn't that...
We're not allowed to sleep anywhere but the dorms, but it doesn't say we have to stay in our assigned room, so...
It is a problem! A boy and a girl spending the night.
But I'm a girl.
You are? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry!
But if it wasn't either of you, then what other possibility is there?
Actually, there is one.
Oh, yeah, that's true! One other person did come to the dining hall
Why didn't you say so?
Well, because... Sayaka. She...
I got it! Then...
That's the and thinking back on it, she was acting kind of unusual when she came into the dining hall. She didn't even... As she left, she said she just wanted a drink of water. But
The person who took the knife was the victim herself.
I'm sure she just took it for...
So you're saying the knife she took was then taken from her, and she was killed with it? In that case, you may not have taken the knife.
What?
See? He did...
No!
So, that's how you would
Hold on. It's still too early to decide conclusively because you see, if the room did belong to the killer, then they did something most bewildering. And until we unravel that little mystery...
Bewildering?
Something was missing from the scene of the crime that by all rights should have been there. You know what I'm talking about.
Now I understand. That's right. There wasn't a single hair on the floor.
So,
Yes. And why would I need to get rid of all the hair in my own room? It wouldn't be unusual at all to find my hair at the crime scene if the crime...
The reason all the hair was gone, well, that makes sense, does it not?
Then why wasn't there any hair on the ground?
The killer got rid of it all, of course, to remove any trace that they had ever...
Wait.
Precisely. It's simply beyond reason to believe that the room's owner and the killer are one and the same.
Then...
Are you sure we can decide something so important based solely on the absence of some hair?
No. There are other reasons.
I would like to hear.
Do you remember anything remarkable about the bathroom at the scene? Sayaka was attacked in the main room first, then fled in.
Yeah, then they ran after her, got into the...
And how did the killer get into the bathroom? Did they have any trouble with it?
What do you mean?
It's fairly certain that the killer had some trouble getting into. There was clear evidence left behind.
I got it! Evidence that the killer had trouble getting in.
Huh?
The doorknob for my bathroom. See how the top part was unscrewed? And the doorknob's about ready to...
Oh yeah, true.
In trying to bypass the lock, they ended up nearly... This is another most bewildering act for the room's owner. It proves Makoto is...
So what? You're saying he wouldn't break the door? But if the only choice you have is to break it, you break it. There's nothing...
You still don't see? Let's take another look at how the incident unfolded. The incident took place in Makoto's room. Sayaka was first attacked in the main room. She then fled into the bathroom.
Then the killer ran after her. And they got into the bathroom.
At that point, the killer had to try and bust down the door, because Sayaka had locked it.
No, that's wrong! The reason my bathroom didn't open wasn't because it was locked. After all, the girls' rooms are the only ones with walking bathrooms, right?
Yes, now that you mention it, that is.
Then why didn't your bathroom door open?
Because it was stuck.
Huh? What are you talking about?
My bathroom door doesn't fit in the frame quite right. Monokuma over there can testify to that.
Yup, true as true can be. But you know, you're supposed to be the ultimate lucky student, right?
So the reason the door didn't open was just because it was stuck, but the killer didn't know that and assumed it was locked. So they tore apart the doorknob.
Okay, but then why would the killer even think the door was locked in the first place? Everyone should have known you can't lock.
The killer could easily make that mistake, thanks to one important...
I got it! The killer must not have realized that it was my room.
What? Are you saying the culprit?
And yet, he...
Say what?
Well, to be what the killer didn't know was that Makoto and Sayaka had switched rooms, which is what led to the misunderstanding about the bathroom.
Then there would have been a lock on the door, and they would have had to break through!
So they had no idea how unnecessary their actions were.
Ultimately, we can't know if it came open by force or simply by accident. The killer must have been considerably confused, with no idea how they actually got the door opened.
Regardless, it was a pointless act. Wasting time trying to...
Definitely something I wouldn't do, since I would have known exactly why it wasn't opening.
That is...
So the killer would have to be someone who...
Then Makoto couldn't have done it.
Okay, then who did do it?
I'm sorry, but I give up!
But what happens if we...
Well, why don't we just vote right now?
Majority rules? Do you really think that's a good idea?
Yeah, our necks are on the line here. Someone seriously needs to do something.
Does no one have any other thoughts or questions?
Oh! As a you don't gotta sound so
It's fine, it's fine.
Oh yeah, well, I was just...
Yes.
Maybe Sayaka just dropped the key somewhere and the
I don't think so.
Then... maybe...
Negative! If you remember, Monokuma made it quite clear that the locks are all unpickable.
Fine. How about this? They could have knocked and said they wanted to talk or something.
No, that can't...
Oh! Trying to argue against me? Hello? Why exactly can't that be?
I got it! Because Sayaka was already scared, remember? That... Knowing what she'd been through, I just...
What if her being scared was a lie?
Huh? Well, what the hell is that supposed to...
I know you don't want to consider it, but look at... I found a notepad during my search, and I shaded in the top sheet with a pencil, and these are the words that appeared.
Oh man! I've totally seen people do that on detective shows. When you write, it can leave an imprint. When I saw that, I was like, holy crap! I better make sure I rip...
It's a pretty old-fashioned technique, but even the classics... Oh, and I should also mention... Which means... only someone who had been in Makoto's room before...
Then either it was Makoto who lived there, or Sayaka who switched rooms for...
So, Makoto...
No.
Of course you didn't. Because the note also bears a perfect...
But why? Why would she write that?
The note was likely her way of getting in touch with a certain someone. She must have slid it under their door to let them know she wanted to meet with them in secret.
You got an invitation like that from the ultimate pop sensation. What young